Hey guys, Justin here, and I'm with Dave Kosak, the lead mission designer for Hearthstone, because there's been a lot of exciting Hearthstone news pretty recently.
Yeah, we've just announced our next expansion. The Witchwood is coming.
That was a really fun video. I loved watching that. What was the... Did you guys just like, we want to go out in the woods nearby? Did you guys get to take a trip for that?
Yeah, okay, so trivia, it was actually filmed at a golf course. So like at any given time, you could have panned the camera over and saw like the 9th green or something.
It's a little less scary.
Yeah, a little less scary. It was okay. We actually did the scene where we're running through the woods. I like ran right out onto the fairway. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, but it was super fun to film. We thought, like, how do we best get across this, like, the spooky, kind of horror movie pastiche that is the Witchwood, and then we came across with that, and then I mean, it's kind of a risky gag, but we thought, look, as long as it looks like we're having fun with it, I mean, people have fun with it, and that seems to be the response. Like, people could tell we were just having some fun. I also just loved this is the idea of like finding cards in the woods, like why they were just saying, "Oh, look, it's hanging from a tree. Get it!" That was super funny to me. So I don't know. I thought it was fun.
It was a very funny video. Yeah. And so one of the new things coming up in this expansion is kind of new. We got a taste of a dungeon run with our last expansion, and this one's going to have a new take on that. Yeah. That's my role in the Hearthstone team is a lead mission designer. And Kobolds and Catacombs, we had just a wonderful expression of that with the dungeon run. And play. If you guys haven't tried it yet, you got to try the dungeon run. But it was, you face a series of random bosses. You don't know what you're going to see. They get the difficulty escalates as you get deeper and deeper into the dungeon. And every time with each victory, you kind of build up your deck and you build up your power as you go. Turns out that's a really fun format. We got a lot of great response from it. Had a lot of fun with it. And it's coming back. In the Witchwood, we have what's called the Monster Hunt. So you are going to delve deep into the Witchwood with a monster hunter, and you're going to be hunting monsters. And like the dungeon run, it's random. You don't know what you're going to find. We have over 40 different encounters in the Witchwood. The monsters get progressively difficult, and you'll get to find treasures in the woods as you defeat each monster. What's going to be different this time around is instead of the 9 default Hearthstone classes, we have 4 special Monster Hunter heroes. And Monster Hunter operates like one of the Hearthstone classes, but has their own hero power and their own treasures that they can discover. And so it's going to feel different. You're going to have obviously you're going to have all new bosses, a mix of new and old treasures, as well as specific treasures for your new Monster Hunter characters. And it should be a lot of fun. It'll feel familiar to people, but also be very new. And that'll come out 2 weeks after the main expansion comes out. So we give people, it's the Year of the Raven is kicking off. That's what we call, new set rotation. So some of the old sets are rotating out of the standard mode. And it's a really exciting time. A lot of new decks are going to appear. A lot of crazy stuff is going to go on. We have these new, I don't know if you've seen it yet, the new even and odd cards. Yeah.
Where you build
it sounds like some interesting deck building.
You build a whole deck out of all even cost cards or odd cost cards, and you get a big buff to your hero power, or your hero power is cheaper. So it kind of changes up the way you play, and certainly changes up deck building. That's going to be crazy. So there's a couple weeks people can just explore on the ladder, go crazy, see what they can build. Have a lot of fun with the new stuff. Then 2 weeks in, then the little Monster Hunt drops. You get to
is Monster Hunt going to replace the Kobolds and Catacombs dungeon run?
No, that's the beauty of it. Is so Kobolds and Catacombs, the dungeon run kind of stays with it. It's always there. You can go into the menu, go play it, and it'll stay as is. So the cards will be the same. And then with the Witchwood is associated this mode, the Monster Hunt, and it's separate. And yeah, we'll talk about it more. Like after we release the Witchwood, we're going to drop some more information on the Monster Hunt. It's exciting.
Well, I look forward to hearing more about the Monster Hunt, but I guess to prep for that, I thought it would be a good idea for you to take me through the dungeon run. Give us some tips, some pointers, maybe tease a little bit about how that experience is going to change for the hunt. So let's run over.
Let's jump in. This is exciting because let me tell you, you have the unique mix here of both insider information and complete incompetence, because I'm not very good at Hearthstone, so I don't know if I can help you, but I can definitely tell you funny stories as we delve into the dungeon run.
If you can take the driver's seat.
Yeah. Let's do it. I thought you were going to drive dungeon run.
I'm an even worse driver.
Adventurers Wanted. That's us. We're in. Oh, there he is, giant rat.
So this is also your baby.
It was certainly. I mean, everything on Hearthstone is very much a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
But I definitely joined the team with the intent of let's create some really good single-player content that helps us sell kind of the story of the expansion and get it across. And there's no better way to sell the idea of I'm going through a dungeon, looting treasures, than to literally do it, to actually have a dungeon run.
Yeah.
Let's jump in because this is my favorite part. You gotta listen closely. Oh, what? Okay, wait. You pick it. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
I always love Priest.
Priest is good. So let me see. The toughest ones. Warrior has turned out to be probably the toughest. As we look at the data, like Warrior is the toughest nut to crack. Priest is pretty hard. But
we can do something easier if you.
No, actually, Priest is one of my favorite classes. So let's jump in.
Yeah, I always forget that you guys have literally all of the data for everything that everybody is doing with these games.
And it's important for us. We're gonna kind of check and see what people are playing, how they're playing it, what they're getting across from it.
And so, do you ever balance things based on, like, now that you have hundreds of thousands of people playing through these, who are like, well, maybe Warrior is a little bit too hard.
This is my favorite part. To hear an epic hero and the innkeeper say versus a giant rat just cracks me up every time. Yeah, we look at the data. I mean, we try not to change things once they're out there. So we're looking at data. We want to make sure there's no outliers. And although I said Warrior was the hardest, it wasn't so much harder than everything else. There's actually kind of a nice spread, which is what we wanted to see of all the heroes that you can play through the dungeon run with, of difficulty. And some of them are easier. A lot of the classes that can use Jade, here's a tip. If you can, like the Druid or Rogues, if you can build a Jade deck, especially with like a double battle cry, that helps. That actually helps the completion rate of those classes, because that's a really good way. The bosses don't know what to do once you start really snowballing. So we are facing the giant rat, and we don't have a play, so we're gonna stop that right there.
So the guy that announces these, the innkeeper,
yes,
does he just kind of say all this stuff out of context? Do you bring him back? Is he an actor, or is he someone on staff?
Oh no, actor. We have professional voice actors for everything in Hearthstone. What? Why would you do that with the poor? What? We're gonna get smoked by a rat. That's gonna be the Let's Play today. Get smoked by a rat.
This is a rough start.
Well, we're definitely gonna kill something. That's my plan. We're gonna kill something. How are we gonna kill it? What are we gonna kill it with? Feels like overkill. But we're gonna. I know. We want this out here. Let's just take him out. Don't like him. All right. As I say, I'm not the greatest Hearthstone player. Actually, that's something that helps us out a lot. So. One of our other designers for the dungeon run was his name was Paul Nguyen, and he is like worldwide top 50 arena player. He's very, very, very good. He is a backup player. If like this whole Blizzard thing doesn't work out, he could just go pro. He'd do great. And then you have me. I love Hearthstone, and I'm just not very good at it. I'm not like a pro level player, and that's actually a good acid test for us, because if Paul finds something fun and I find something fun, we know that it hits every skill level. Like, everybody has a good time with it. Let's see. What do we? I think we want to get some card draw. Let's do the old. What's happening there? Oh, look at that. Look at that. We can just kind of wipe the board.
So I know when this was early on, one of the dangers that people would run into is just trying to deal as much face damage as possible. Just kind of constructing decks around that, which doesn't necessarily help as you get later on. Yeah,
actually, and that was something we found with the dungeon run, especially in these early games here. I mean, you see he has 10 health, I have 13 health. I only have one more card in my deck, so we're going to have to wrap this up soon. The right answer was always build a very powerful face deck. Go face right away. But we didn't want that to be like the whole dungeon run. So it is actually still very valuable early in the run to go face. But at some point, you have to transition your deck to be available, to have other options available. We actually made a pass, and we did a whole bunch of bosses that sort of directly counter that strategy. So by the time you hit the middle of the dungeon, you should be, be able to flex and have a different strategy ready. And I actually really like that. I like that learning curve of the dungeon run. I think we should start doing some damage here, should we? Yeah, we should try and...
Because this can be over pretty quickly still. Like, he's still just a rat.
Right. Another interesting thing that we're trying to figure out was how difficult do we want to make the dungeon? Oh, I feel a Holy Nova coming.
I am out of cards.
I am out of cards. Oh. Well, actually, we don't want to heal our character then. We don't want the card draw. Let's take care of business.
Right away.
Okay. I think we got to win next turn if we hang out. How difficult do we want to make the dungeon run? And what we found is what matters. Yeah, this is what we're doing. Good night. That's good. That's style points for the victory. What we found is it was less important, how difficult it was, so much as you want at least to express your deck. Mm-hmm. Like you're building something and you want to kind of get across. Like I want to be able to do my thing, right? Mm-hmm. And we found around about boss 4 or 5, you've gotten to do your thing. Like you've gotten to test that deck out. You've got to do something pretty awesome with it. And then it doesn't feel too bad if you lose. Like at that point, it's like, okay, that wasn't the best deck, but at least I got to do the fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you got defeated on like the second or third boss, you're like, I didn't even get to like really build my deck. I didn't even get to play with the thing I was building. So we tuned it accordingly. So it's easier, and then it get rapidly really difficult around that 4th fight, as I'm sure you've discovered. And then we make sure that those last few fights are really challenging, because we found if it was too easy, it just wasn't very replayable. It didn't feel very good if it was too easy. So we make those wins feel really, really good.
So that it's less than 50% completion, I would assume, or like a less than 50% win rate.
Once
you get past like the 4th.
Yeah. See, I'm not sure about individual bosses, but what we do find is that a dungeon run completion rate flexes pretty drastically based on your skill level. Mm-hmm. So most players are fine for the first few bosses, and then really good players with like high MMR rankings, they do really well. They can actually pull wins out. And I think it's because they know how to play even when they're up against the ropes. They don't make a bad play, which is actually also very gratifying, as we wanted really skilled players to feel really rewarded by being able to navigate this. So this is an interesting one. Crystal Gem here really gives you a lot of great tempo, which is kind of good across the board. That's nice. A little less powerful later in the dungeon. Glyph of Warding, it's one of those treasures. It's really tricky for me, because I was saying this is one of those differences where I'm a more casual player, and sort of our design team on the whole, obviously they have to be really, really good. So like Glyph of Warding, you don't really see it. Like you don't really see any big splashy, but you are really undercutting the boss a lot. So the Glyph of Warding is actually immensely powerful. Actually, both of these cards do the same thing, just on opposite sides. They give you that extra point of tempo, which in the early game makes a huge difference. But this Glyph of Warding is something that all of our like really hardcore players were like, oh, that's awesome. And a lot of people are like, oh, that doesn't seem too great, and they skip it. So that said, with a priest character, I'm really liking the death rattles trigger twice. I don't think we have any. Oh, we have one. Yeah, we don't really have a lot of death rattles in our starting deck, but that could be a lot of fun.
Depending on what comes out.
Yeah, I'm just going to go for it, and we're going to hope to see sweet death rattles. Yeah, that looks pretty solid. Resurrection to kind of build up for that. I love having Northshire Clerics, one of my favorite things. Characters healed, gain +2 attack. Oh, yeah, that's just a nice... Sometimes a little package of cards is really nice, and this set really works well together. Bag of Tricks. I do like tricks, but that doesn't really help our deck that we're building. So this is something I think that worked really well for the dungeon run, and I think that works great for the format, is just you have a lot of options. We took the Totem of the Dead, so all of our death rattles trigger twice. All of these cards are really kind of building toward that death rattle deck, so that's going to really help us. Give a random friendly minion +2/+2 is pretty awesome for a taunt minion. I mean, just that card alone working with this one is great. And then he'll come back when all this stuff works really well with the deck we're building. And these 3 cards are just a really nice package. You can run away with the game. A Light Warden, once you start going, you get a Holy Nova that heals like 4 characters. Yeah. You can start steamrolling. So this is tremendous. But I did pick that Death Rattle card, and I kind of want to. So we're gonna take the long.
Thematically, we're gonna do this because nothing says Death Rattle like Tyrande Whisperwind.
Candlebeard, one of my favorite pieces of art in the set. Candlebeard, his favorite move is Charge. Something we did with Kobolds and Catacombs was some of the bosses have multiple difficulties. So Candlebeard, you might run too early in the dungeon, and in this case, for 1 cost, he can give a minion charge, which is pretty good. If you run into him later in the dungeon, he has higher health, a slightly different deck, and the charge is automatic. Like every card he plays automatically gets charged. That's brutal. A late game Candlebeard is kind of devastating. So it's kind of good that we run into him early. Something for the Witchwood, though, we didn't double up on the bosses. So the Witchwood, there's more than 40 encounters, but they're all unique. There's no doubling up early in late game. All right, let's see what Candlebeard is up to.
But will the general flow follow similarly in Monster Hunt, where you're picking by building your deck as you go along? And
yeah. We tried lots and lots and lots of different things. So, Hearthstone comes out with an expansion every 4 months. Yeah. So we have to iterate really quickly. Hey, Kel'Thuzad, what's up? It's distracting to play and talk at the same time. We experimented a lot with Dungeon Run and ultimately ended up with this format that works really well. And it's very clean. It's very like a pure experience. It's like, here's a boss, kill the boss, get the loot, get another boss, right? We tried experimenting a whole bunch, then afterwards, and eventually we kind of came back to it. We sort of streamlined it again. We simplified it, and we're like, the new classes that you get to play with are really, really fun. Maybe that's it, and that's the major change, and that feels like enough. Like, because they're all new bosses and there's new treasures, and it just felt good as it was. So we didn't add too many new bells and whistles. We just thought this format was really fun. We'll keep playing with it. I think there's a lot of different ways, a lot of different avenues to explore. But ultimately, we thought like the new classes give you just different ways to play Hearthstone. It worked really well for us. Very excited to talk more about the Witchwood Monster Hunt when it comes along. Again, I don't have a turn 1 play. We gotta work on that.
Like, it's sillier, but one of my other favorite things, especially playing on PC, is having all of the different things you can interact with on the board itself.
Yes.
It's very therapeutic.
The Witchwood board, and I think by this time we've shown screenshots of it, but if not, you guys get spoilers. There's a cauldron down here in the corner, and you can like throw stuff into the cauldron and kind of mix your own brew. He has 2 snakes. What a jerk. What am I gonna do here? Wish I had the Potion of Madness. That is what I really want. Actually, this is a tricky puzzle for me because these snakes are just gonna wipe out whatever I put on the board there. So we can be sneaky. Oh, oops! I wasn't thinking. Okay. I used up my mana. I meant to do something else. Let's see if he attacks the right minion first. Oh man. No, he's just gonna wipe my whole board. No, he's gonna go face. Yeah, this is
it's a lower difficulty as well right now.
Yeah, this is also something we discovered is that when you're low on health, the boss really, really, really wants to go face. Let's remove this one. With that guy, I'll take care of him, and Death Rattles will trigger twice. Look at that. That is beauty.
Is someone injured?
With only 12, I probably should have been going face there, but we'll keep it rolling. See what Candlebeard has up his sleeve. I think I mentioned some of my favorite art is Candlebeard. Something funny is when we were teasing this expansion, we showed a bag of coins as our sort of expansion teaser, and everyone thought pirate. Everyone was convinced pirate. the legendary card we sort of revealed early. Everyone's like, I think that guy's a pirate. It's totally pirate expansion. And there's no pirates in the entire expansion except for Candlebeard. Candlebeard is the pirate. I feel like, what are we going to do? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we don't quite have enough to kill him off.
Right away.
That is not a valid target.
Almost. We almost got this. Almost got this.
I think you might win.
This is pretty good. I don't think you're necessarily learning like extreme
Tactics.
Extreme tactics. Yeah. Okay, that's right. Do this. Do it big. Finish him off with a spell. No.
So like when you have something like Dungeon Run, like it doesn't feel like a traditional World of Warcraft style, narrative mission style thing. So like, what kinds of things do you do on a day-to-day basis? Like, as far as like, what kind of decisions do you make?
So the storytelling in Hearthstone is interesting because it's not your linear beginning, middle, and end. So much of it is just setting the vibe, the tone, just kind of give people the atmosphere and the characters, so creating characters like Candlebeard that's going to be memorable. I love the idea of a kobold that sort of was just digging and he found buried pirate treasure. He's never seen a boat in his life, but now he's a pirate because he's got the coat and the hat. Right? Yeah. And so, we concentrate a lot on sort of creating those characters and creating those moments. And then it's a matter of just really balancing out the gameplay. Something we discovered was the bosses. Question was how difficult or how complex do we want to make the bosses? In sort of the traditional sort of single player content, the bosses all had some really intense gimmick that you had to build a deck around, a very specific deck to beat, and that doesn't work here. And one of my main concerns was, hey, we're going to build like 40, 50 bosses for this dungeon run. I mean, if we have to spend a couple weeks working on each one, like it's never going to happen. But we discovered early on playtesting that the bosses didn't need to have a difficult, like a really complicated hero power. It could be just 1 mana freeze a minion, right? That's super simple. It's an existing game mechanic. It takes us 2 minutes to implement. But it can still be an interesting challenge for players. And that's really what the key is to create just interesting deck building challenges for the players. And they don't have to be that complex, which was good because it meant we could create a lot of different bosses. And then just really focus on getting the character dialed in. For the Witchwood, it's exciting because we get to tell a little bit of the story of the Witchwood, not in a beginning, middle, end sort of linear fashion, but just in the way our monster hunters interact with the monsters, how the monsters talk with them. And we have the idea of something called a nemesis fight. And the nemesis fight is your 8th boss, sort of the final boss, is unique to your hero. And so they have some dialogue back and forth. And you kind of get to learn a little about our heroes, a little bit about the monsters, a little bit about our main villain, Hagatha, and kind of get a little more storytelling in there. So a lot of people have said, like, hey, the storytelling's great. And it's not your traditional World of Warcraft questing, storyline where you build up and you meet these characters and build up to a climax. But you do get a little bit of that feeling. And you definitely kind of come away from that mode feeling like you understand the Witchwood and Gilneas a little more, which I love. Oh, let's see. Well, the Resurrection's interesting because we get another Tortolan Shellraiser there, and that's a pretty sweet death rattle to double. And then, resurrecting minions that have death rattle when the death rattle's going to double up is pretty cool. So that's good. I love Cthulhu Priest. In fact, I'm going to tell you, if people need to get that win with Priest, if you can like dial into the Cthulhu in a big way, Cthulhu Priest is a lot of fun. Cthulhu Priest works great with double Battle Cry. If you have double Battle Cry, your Cthulhu here would get +4/+4.
When you kind of need that when you're not able to create your own deck that's buffing Cthulhu the entire time.
Right. Although something that's a little hidden is that when you choose a bucket, it affects the randomness of future buckets. I'm sorry, I call these buckets. That's sort of that's internal term. So if we picked Cult of Cthulhu, we have a slightly more chance of getting more Cthulhu cards later. Not huge, it's not guaranteed, but it does give you the ability to say, like, I definitely want to go into Cthulhu in a big way. And you can really build up a deck that does that.
Is that the same for Death Rattle? So, like, having gotten the double Death Rattle, are you more likely to get some Death Rattle options?
I'm not sure it extends to like every single bucket, so I'm not positive about Death Rattle. I know the Cthulhu, though, especially, definitely does that. I don't think I'll take the Cthulhu here just because my double Death Rattle is not helping me with any of these, and I would kind of be building two different decks with two very different things. This one isn't perfect. I think I'm going to go with it. I do like these cards. They're all nice, but they're not really working with us right now. So it's very important in the dungeon run that you're building a deck that actually goes together. Who do we got? Graves the Cleric. Super fun Easter egg with Graves the Cleric. I'm not going to do it here because it would take a little bit of gymnastics, but... So he just sort of heals everybody every turn. And he's also a big fan of the Northshire Cleric, so not only is he healing people all the time, he's getting... Actually, my Northshire is going to work really well with his. So he's going to be doing a lot of card draw. Mm-hmm. If you can get him to a point where he starts burning his own cards, he has a secret Easter egg line. He says, like, "You never go full Northshire." Super fun. Yeah, let's see if we can make his hero power work for us. When we built the dungeon run, one of the things that I was really worried about as the lead was like, hey, how are we going to balance these guys for difficulty? We're going to have to make a lot of bosses. We're going to end up cutting a lot of bosses because they don't fit in. And actually, we found that wasn't the case at all. Sometimes you create bosses, and then if it turns out to be a really easy fight, you just move it earlier in the rotation. That was the case with Graves. I mean, he has kind of a shtick that he does, and he heals everybody, which is sort of a fun thing because you can purposely wound your own guys a whole lot and take advantage of it.
Right away.
Yeah, you take that. Yeah, it's probably a waste of that spell, but I just wanted to do it. But he ended up being kind of an easy fight. I mean, there wasn't really a way, and we could like try and we could make it like super challenging, but it was kind of fun as it was. It was fun and it wasn't hard, so we moved him earlier in the rotation. He's kind of a pushover, but that's okay. That's all right. We don't have a foreplay, so what I want to do. Let's just do this and let him heal me and see if we get the card draw that way. We're going to do that. See how that happens. Is he going to do it? No, he's going to kill my guy. See,
you made a smart play.
Not only am I not good, but I'm not good on camera. Here you go. Yeah, heal that. Do that. Uh-oh. Watch me get smoked by Graves. I just smack talked him the entire time.
Moving him lower in rotation.
Look at this.
One time I was playing, he definitely, I underestimated him.
Yeah, he's an easy one to get romped. We need one more mana is what we need. Now I'm concentrating playing because now I don't want to lose to Graves after smack talking him. So how about you? How far have you gotten in the dungeon run?
I think I've made it to the penultimate encounter. I've never quite overcome it. I'm also a very casual player. Like my favorite thing about Hearthstone is still Tavern Brawl. Like I look forward to that every Wednesday.
Yeah, Tavern Brawl is really a fun exercise for us. Yeah, I lost her double up. That 4 attack guy.
But I also love going through my deck and looking at all the flavor text for the cards, because you have to dig a little bit for it. But I feel like it's almost always really rewarding when you do.
Yeah, so I was not paying attention. I wasted that spell. I think this is over. I was listening to you. Yeah. That might work it'll give us a taunt, but it won't help us against the overwhelming.
The game begins.
Like, I feel like he heard you talking about him.
Yeah, he absolutely did. All right, we'll see if she helps us out here. Yeah, the 6/6s are demolishing us. And then he heals his guys right back up. That is funny. We're going to lose to Graves. I'm calling it. I'm calling it right now. This is kind of a waste to play at this time. This is all bad news. This is terrible news. The best I can do is take his Leopardome from him. I guess I could have killed one of the 6/6s there. Haha. Well, we get to hear the rarity, the Graves taunt line at the end. We had an interesting time writing the taunt lines. I love this video because I just died to Graves. I think that's going to be the.
I claim these treasures for the light and for me.
Graves is in it for his own. I love that.
Well, I mean, I guess that is Hearthstone in a nutshell. You never quite know what you're getting into as well. Like, you can go up against somebody who seems...
Yeah, and at least I got to kind of do what we were talking about before. I got to sort of express the theme of that deck, which was I was going to... The Death Rattle, and I was going to have these guys double up on their Death Rattles. And sort of play around with that. So I'm having fun with that. Maybe a little too much fun because I wasn't paying any attention. And I got smoked by one of the easier bosses in the game. But yeah, that is Hearthstone in a nutshell. Like you always got to be on your toes. I like that a lot.
I mean, that's the biggest lesson I think you could take away from any good stream. So I think we got a good lesson after all as well. So yeah, Monster,
and we dispel the rumors that to work on the Hearthstone team, you have to be really good at Hearthstone. No,
so there's hope. There's hope for me.
Yeah, there is hope for you. Yeah, I made many misplays. We should probably do like a commented version of this video. We're like, look at what he just did. He cast that spell there. Why? Why did he do that?
So,
any attention
for the monster run? Do you feel, or monster hunt? Are there things people might be able to learn from playing through Dungeon Run? Do you feel like that's going to be good preparation for monster hunt?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the disciplines you get is you need to you kind of want to build a deck for any eventuality. You want to be prepared. And it's the same here. There are a lot of bosses that don't just like shut down certain deck archetypes, but really punish a certain deck archetype, and you have to play a little differently there. But it's not so overwhelming that you can't get around it if you're prepared, if you have some other strategies in your back pocket. So yeah, building a flexible deck, being knowing where, and this is a good general Hearthstone advice, but knowing when it's time to go face. Like sometimes you need to sprint to the finish because the boss is building up power, and you definitely learn that in the Dungeon Run. Like sometimes you know that. Like I got to stop playing the minion game, and I got to take this guy out because I don't want him to get to turn 8 or whatever. And that's very important in the Witchwood. Some of those monsters are vicious.
So we're in the midst of the Game Developers Conference right now, but I know we're going to be hearing more about this next expansion really soon. When's the next thing is a stream? I think you guys are doing next week, right after the Game Developers Conference.
Let's see. I don't know when this is airing, so I'm not sure what people have seen or haven't seen. So we have a couple of streams coming that'll talk about different mechanics. As we're filming this, we just published one that talks about the even and odd mechanic, which I'm very excited about. That's a real a real deck building challenge. It's very tactical. It really kind of messes with your whole head, not just while you're building a deck, because like half the cards in Hearthstone don't work. But then when you're playing the game, it changes your tempo completely. Like you have either a cheaper hero power or a much more powerful hero power that you need to use to kind of flesh out those even or odd turns where normally you don't have a play because you don't have any of the cards there. So your whole like kind of playing on curve changes. It changes the way you play Hearthstone. That's really fun. That's super cool. We just published a video with Dean Ayala talking about those cards and talking about some of the decks. So that's really neat. Yeah, and then we're talking about some of the other set mechanics. We'll be doing lots of card reveals, especially in the 2 weeks leading up to the expansion.
Is there a date yet?
I'm going to look at my PR person. We don't have a date yet. It's April.
April.
Yeah. April-ish.
When it's ready. I think the Blizzard
when
standard
when it's
response.
ready, yeah. But I would say it is ready. It's looming. It's looming like a dark forest. It's coming to get you.
Well, I look forward to exploring this forest, and hopefully everyone watching learned a valuable lesson today.
Learned a valuable lesson about Graves, about talking and playing Hearthstone at the same time.
It's hard to talk and play a game at the same time.
Yeah. But super fun. I had a lot of fun going through it with you, telling my dungeon run stories about the development.
And thanks so much for joining us. Again, this was Dave Kosak. I'm Justin Haywald, and stay tuned for even more Hearthstone news in the coming weeks.